Good afternoon. My name is Johannes Schul, and I serve as the General Secretary of the Semmelweis Foundation. And if you miss Bernhard, we decided to give him a break and split our hosting duties of the Semmelweis Talk. But no worries, he will be back as a moderator of one of our next talks. During the last couple of months, we had a host of experts on the Semmelweis Talks, and they gave us their prediction on the COVID situation and the development of new mutations and implications on our daily lives. And it's quite remarkable, to be honest, that our dear Semmelweis friend and hand hygiene champion Didier Pité predicted our current situation already almost 1 year ago. He said, thanks to vaccines and less contagious COVID mutations, we're now in a position of relative stability, and we learn to live with the virus within an endemic scenario. So make no mistake, people still get infected, and some of our friends and colleagues have COVID right now. So we're still far from the end of the COVID situation. But as we approach the 5th of May and as we celebrate the World Hand Hygiene Day 2023, we have looked into scientific studies and investigating the impact of COVID on the hand hygiene compliance. And we were unpleasantly unsurprised to learn that the level of hand hygiene compliance has basically not improved. So let me read you the findings from the American Journal of Infection Control. In the study, the conclusion is as follows. The COVID-19 pandemic did not raise hand hygiene compliance in any shape or form. So this makes us quite worried that not even a global pandemic can improve the situation. And so the 5th of May is as important as ever, and hopefully it will one day be not as important as it is as of now. So just a side note, beginning of May in Austria, it is no longer required to wear an FFP2 mask in pharmacies, hospitals, or any other healthcare facilities. And there's no documentation required if you have COVID. There's no quarantine necessary if you're tested positive but have no symptoms. So let's hope that this is not backfiring on us, as we all think the pandemic is the COVID situation is over, and there's no longer a virus that we have to deal with. So this brings us back to our topic today, 5th of May, Action Day. As some of you might recall, in our first Semmelweis Talk last year in May, we had Didier Pité and the CEO of Red Noses International with us. And as you know, our Semmelweis Foundation and Red Noses joined forces. And every year on the 5th of May, we celebrate the World Hand Hygiene Day. And I think it's worth taking a closer look on the next chapter of our cooperation. And before I introduce you to our keynote speaker, let's listen to the Semmelweis song, and I encourage you to pay attention to the words. And Red Noses Austria is part of Red Noses International, which is an organization of 12 member organizations in Europe and Middle East. Ivana holds a master's degree at the University of Applied Science and studied a few semesters at the Medical University in Vienna prior to that. Interesting. Before joining Red Noses, she worked several years in public affairs as national expert to the European Commission in Brussels. After that, she was program manager and public affairs manager of the Global Incubator Network, and she worked in Japan, Hong Kong, Singapore, South Korea, and Israel until 2018. In 2019, she started as Red Noses head of operations before being appointed managing director of Red Noses Austria. Please welcome Ivana Bacanovic. So, Ivana, thank you for taking the time and joining the Semmelweis Talk. Originally, we invited Ivana to our office studio, but due to organizational reasons, unfortunately, this was not possible this time. Hopefully, there will be another time. So for those who missed our session last year in May, I would like to invite Ivana to start her keynote with a brief intro and how our collaboration evolved. Ivana, the floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Johannes. Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure to represent Red Noses and to be part of this collaboration of Semmelweis Foundation and Red Noses. I will share my presentation with you now, and I hope that many of you who are watching and listening to us know Red Noses. Red Noses stands for the beauty of humor and healthcare clowning. But why are we here today? What are we representing? What do we want to support? So imagine a world with dangerous things. I would like to, to point out three I think are dangerous. One, rusty bolts and screws. Would you ever let your kid or nephew or your grandchild play with rusty bolts and screws? I don't think so. Or poisonous snakes. Some of them are beautiful, like green, like this one, but you wouldn't touch them. You would avoid them, right? And also sharks chasing you. I guess that's really something that it looks very dangerous, and it is most probably. So yes, these threats are obvious. And then there are these, which are not that obvious, like multi-resistant bacteria. So what can we do about it? So this is obvious, right? We can disinfect our hands. We can do everything in our power to save the most vulnerable people from those multi-resistant bacteria. And as Red Noses, what can we do to support this most important message? As Johannes said, we are in 11 countries in operation, all the way to Jordan and Palestine. Last year, we visited more than 300,000 beneficiaries. So these are elderly, children, and also people who had to leave their countries, fugitives, with our Emergency Smile International. We're in 655 medical and social institutions. So as Red Noses Group, we are collaborating and we are visiting so many institutions where we see how important it is to have clean hands, to have this utmost important thought to take care of disinfected hands before any interaction with patients. So the people we work with are in very vulnerable people, elderly, for example, in elderly homes. It is important to take care of them. So our clowns are taught in the curriculum. So when they start working with Red Noses, they go through a curriculum of almost 2 years where they not only learn about the quality of art of the clowning and all that it needs to become a healthcare clown in this world of healthcare and social institutions, but also what it takes, what hygiene it takes to work in the medical environment, what is important for them to cover. So this is something that they learn when they start working for Red Noses. So it is very important for us that we do not endanger any of the people we work with. Our clowns, they go from one institution to the other, sometimes even within one day. They go from one ward to the other, from one room to the other. So it is important for them to disinfect their hands each and every time they go from one room to the other or from one ward to the other. So in those almost 17,000 clown visits, and our professional trained clowns, which are 424, as I said, in 11 countries of operations, it is our duty to make them understand how important the hygiene is, and that's what they do understand. And this is something that we see, easy to connect with the personnel, the people who work in the medical and social institutions, and remind them that they also learn something about hygiene, how important it is to disinfect the hands, and also the visitors. So what we'll do on 5th of May 2023, we will visit 16 major Austrian hospitals, including information booths. So we will organize our information booths, informing people about disinfecting hands, how to do it. We'll teach them how to sing the song and walk along with us if they want through the hospital. We will have walking acts in those major Austrian hospitals, and we will distribute samples of hand disinfection through our sponsor, B Brown, who are providing us with those little bottles you saw in the video, our clown who was juggling with those. And also our two partner organizations, Red Noses in Poland and Red Noses in Czech Republic, they will join us on this day on 5th of May. So what we want to do is we want to raise the awareness, and we want to do it together with the Semmelweis Foundation. And this is why we are here. We want to raise the awareness for this easy but very important routine. So this is what we did last year. So we visited hospitals. We went through the hospitals with walking acts, and we distributed these disinfecting bottles, and we also showed how to do it. And this is what we are going to do this year and next year. And I hope that we can support this not only on the 5th of May, but each and every day when we visit the hospitals and remind everybody who works there and who visits the people who are very vulnerable due to the sickness and illness that they have and weaknesses, that we can support them each and every day. So we do all care, and so we invite you, wherever you are, wherever you work, with whomever you interact, to remember the clowns and to remember the song, to remember how we clean the hands, what we did, and to do it each and every day with humor and fun, and do these little things with a twinkle in an eye. Thank you.
Fascinating insights, and the wonderful work your organization is doing in cooperation with the Semmelweis Foundation. And I think the 5th of May is, I mean, it's not just a wonderful occasion to raise awareness, but it's basically an opportunity to get in touch, and the clowns who are normally in certain confined to certain wards get to visit some places that they usually don't go, and interact with people they usually don't meet. For example, I could imagine on a child's ward, you don't meet elderly people who are visiting their relatives and so on. So I think it's a great opportunity to get in touch with most of the people who are not frequently in touch with the clowns. So let me ask you a couple of burning questions. I read in an article about the work and of the clowns, and there was one sentence that stuck with me. A clown immediately touches your heart. Within a split second, there's a magical connection established. Could you please share a story where you felt this connection yourself, or is it just a poetic phrase, or is it the truth? I mean, I've been in I've been in touch with the clowns and saw their work with refugees, and I think it's amazing how they establish this connection.
Yeah. A clown is a beautiful, beautiful, I would say, creature. You know, it's almost it's a fantasy because it's combining weakness, it's combining mistakes, it's combining truthful touch of your heart every time they see you. They enchant the situation when they enter a room. And once I would like to tell that story because I thought I found it beautiful. I was there with two of our clowns in Carinthia in a hospital, and we were wandering through the ward, the children's ward, from one room to the other. And in one room, we knocked on the door of our clowns, the two clowns I was with. They knocked on the door, and there were two, a doctor and also an assistant with a little boy. And the little boy was very scared because he had an injury on his arm, and the doctor and the assistant, they wanted to clean the wound and to do everything that is needed, and they couldn't really calm the boy down. And then the clowns entered the room, and the boy was immediately struck by this two very interesting people, like those red noses, and they were starting to sing, but very silently, going around the room and started playing with each other to interact with each other. So clowns with each other first, and then involving the kids slowly and slowly. So at one moment, I realized that that boy forgot about what was happening on his arm. So the doctor and the assistant could work on the wound, clean it without any problems, and the kid had a smile on his face, and he was so relaxed and so in this charming world. And at one point, the doctor and the assistant, they finished, and they stepped aside, and the kid was still standing there with the arm stretched out and looking at the clowns, not realizing that everything was over, everything was done. So, and this is just one little scene that I saw, that I witnessed. And it is beautiful also, for example, with Walking Act, what is going to happen on 5th of May. This is also something that we do on a regular basis when our clowns enter a hospital, for example, and they go from one ward to the other and one room to the other. And sometimes people who are waiting outside and waiting for the doctor to come, especially children, they love to interact with the clowns. And for a few minutes, the parents can relax, can watch their kids having fun and laughing and playing with or interacting with clowns and forgetting what is going to happen next. So this is something that we see as important. And so we can show that humor. So our clowns are not only making jokes or trying to make you laugh, they're trying to enchant you. And I would say 99% of the time they succeeded in it. not only kids, but also elderly people and grown-ups. Some are very serious and like, no, I'm not very, I'm not very touched by a clown. I don't need them. But still, you can see how they, even if they turn their head, they're looking at the clowns, what they're doing from the corner of their eye. And yeah, and sometimes you can see this slight grin on their face, even if they try not to laugh or to smile very openly. So I love the work of our clowns because I think it's so important that they're touching they're touching your heart in the hardest situations, when parents are concerned about their kids, when people with dementia, for example, elderly, for even if it's only for minutes, they wake up from their, they exit their small world and interact with other people. So the expertise that our clowns have is amazing, and this is something that we have been working on the last almost 30 years. So everything that we do in the Red Noses group, it started here in Austria. So Red Noses Austria was founded almost 30 years ago. And in the beginning, it was unimaginable that the clowns will be part of a hospital one day. And now we are. There are words where we're almost like a personnel. They're welcoming us, and it's very easy to interact. And then there are still some hospitals and the other institutions who we need to work on a very good collaboration and cooperation, because not everybody has witnessed what I have witnessed and other people too when interacting with a clown. So this is why research is also so important to show, like the research that shows that clowning and healthcare clowning helps to decrease anxiety, to decrease the need for painkillers, for example, because even if it's only for a short time, um, the laughter and the humor and this enchantment brings people not really to forget, but when the brain is busy with something else, then the pain is just making the whole situation a little bit more easier. So yeah, it's wonderful.
I could only imagine how it is to work with them on a day-to-day basis, because the moments I experienced that the clowns, as you mentioned, they are not funny in a direct manner. They do something that reminds you of your own clumsiness or of your own incapabilities,
Right.
and still in a very hopeful way. So that's something that it was really inspiring when I saw their work. And I think as you touched upon, the clown itself is a creature, and I think that's very important to paint the picture. The clown is not a person who enters a room and has a mission. The clown is a creature who captures the situation, who reads the emotions in the room, and then finds a story around this environment. And I think that's a very philosophical. It is some kind of a philosophical challenge that they have to overcome every other minute. So
Right. Yeah.
and also if they're met with skepticism and rejection, I think I read on their website that sometimes it takes a couple of tries to get in touch with the people, but they won't forget you. Even if they reject you, they're not forgetting you. And that's something that really stuck with me, because as you know, in fundraising, rejection is is something you have to get used to, and
Right.
and rejection sometimes leads to persuasion, and persuasion leads to success. So I think
Absolutely.
if we can transform this learning also onto our hygiene experts in hospitals. I mean, they have to deal with various challenges, and they're also met with skepticism and rejection. So for it would be interesting to see if there's a way that the clown can educate the hygiene expert how to tackle these situations and find a possible solution, how to overcome this challenge. I think it would be really interesting if the clowns share their expertise with the hygiene experts, and try to teach them a thing or two. I don't know whether this is possible or not, but I think this would be a wonderful idea, that they talk on a professional to professional level on how to deal with rejection and skepticism in the first place.
Right. But as you said, a clown has no mission. A clown just enters a room and reads the room and starts to interact and lives off the signals it sends to the person in front of him or her, and then reacts what is coming back, reacts to the emotions, reacts to the situation. And clowns are like, when they're in the personage, I don't think they would talk to a hygiene expert and be like, I was rejected or something. They would take it, they would show it. They would start singing. They
Mhm.
would, I don't know, start, rubbing their hands and showing how important it is. Because they do have that in mind, like the person behind the clown, but the clown per se is really yeah, as we said, it's a beautiful creature without a mission, and just in with open heart, and with this interested in an interaction and trying to reach the people and to make them, in that particular moment, to make them feel better. And this is also something that is important for children. This is why children, you know um, perceive a clown as, our healthcare clowns, the red noses clowns, as something beautiful, because they come in a room and they don't want anything from that child. They don't want to take blood. They don't want to measure something. They don't want to look in their throat. They just interact with them, play with them. And also, why clowns are so important is they can sometimes read, the anxiety of a kid or the needs of a kid or a person. Even if it's a grown-up person, it doesn't have to be a kid, and transform it into words, transform it into something that others can see. So make things more visible. And this is also like the hygiene. So our clowns can make that importance of hygiene and clean hands, they can make that visible in their own way without talking, but showing and singing and dancing.
I'm totally convinced, and this brings me to a hypothesis I just that just popped up in my mind. I mean, is the clown the best communicator in the hospital when it comes to delivering important messages?
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure if each and every message should be transferred by the clown, but yeah, some definitely. Yes, yes, because they take it, they're not very, they don't do it like this, with
Yeah,
with
yeah.
with a finger in the air and like very serious. They do it with humor, and they do it with a twinkle in their eyes, and I think that's something that we, as human beings, we can take it easier.
So we should use the power of the clowns more often in educative fashion, and I think
Right.
it would be great if if with the power of the clowns, we could raise more awareness for hand hygiene in general. And yeah, I think next year, I mean, this year we have Poland and the Czech Republic who are joining us, and as I know that there would be a lot of more other organizations joining us, but due to your annual international clown camp, resources are rather limited, and as the 5th of May is a Friday, that's also not extremely optimal in this sense. But I think next year we will have some more countries, and we don't just have 19 hospitals in Austria. We will have a lot of other countries joining us, and I'm really looking forward to it, because I think the 5th of May is our action day, and I think we should appreciate this, that we have an opportunity and one day, or hopefully an awareness week. And the WHO is using awareness months already, so we're trying to enlarge it as much as possible.
Okay.
All right.
We'll support it as much as our resources allow us to do it. So.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah. Okay, so thank you, Ivana, for joining us. And
thank you.
I think with this we come to an end of our Semmelweis talk. And as always, we would like to thank our guest speaker to taking the time and sharing her knowledge with us. And I think it's very important that we understand that not every clown we see is a clown, a healthcare clown. And there are different ways to communicate within the healthcare setting. So thank you to to my technical team, and we hope you enjoyed this session as much as we did. The next Semmelweis talk will be about antibiotic stewardship programs, and this is also a subject that is very close to our heart, and we are focusing on the latest research and findings and its implications on hospitals. And we plan to host our next Semmelweis talk in early July, and we will update you once the date is confirmed. So don't forget, 5th of May, Action Day. Tell your colleagues and friends about it. Support Semmelweis, like, subscribe, and follow us on social media. And spread the word, because clean hands save lives. And thank you for joining us, and see you soon, and have a nice afternoon. Goodbye. Thank you.